there's a lot of coins that we call it silent evidence, right? And it seem to have a bunch of dead bodies that nobody talks about because we only like to highlight the winners. Your iPhone will show you how many hours a day are you wasting your life? How big of a piece of shit are you? Basically, misery loves company. If you bring yourself down to their level of consciousness, that's exactly what they want. Those are the kind of people that delete their tweets 2 weeks later when they were wrong.
Hey, Coffee, great to see you. Thanks for jumping on the Liquid Loans channel.
Thanks for having me, Matt. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, we had you on last year. Extremely successful stream. Thought we'd bring you back on. Haven't seen you for a while. What's been going on in your world?
It's been a minute. To just survive in the bear market, survive till 25. That's the motto. So just trying to make it interesting, enjoying the pump, obviously. It's exactly what we needed. It's reinvigorating. So you gotta love it. And we're right on the verge of 6 cents now. I feel like I'm gonna wake up and see another green candle tomorrow. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, it might not last forever, but you gotta enjoy it at least till maybe the end of the year if the Fed decides to push us back down again. But over enough time, it's all gonna be great. Bull market's gonna come back, and this is just kind of like the proof that everybody needed to realize, how fast we can run up in just a matter of weeks, and just not to give up hope and cash out early or sell the bottom. Because I feel bad for anyone that sold 3 cents. You're probably feeling real silly right now. Instead of dollar cost averaging, if you were dumping, you're probably gonna have a bad time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just proof. It's all about diamond hands, and it really does work. Delayed gratification is the only thing that works. But yeah, I'm still excited about liquid loans. Obviously, I know that's kind of your gig, and curious to hear more about that if you want to get into that. But yeah, what's new with you?
Yeah, it's definitely, we're all excited, right? Because V3 rumblings around the corner. And of course, us at Liquid Loans, we're going to have to redeploy contracts and we're waiting for that. So we're all on the edge of our seats for that. And with this, latest pump, it's definitely positive. Do you think it's a bit of a fake out, or do you think this could be the start of the bull market?
When I see like mainstream Nobel Prize winning economists saying it's a bull trap, I definitely take the other side of that. Guys don't know what the hell they're talking about 90% of the time. So yeah, I mean, it's a pump. I don't know. Call it a bull trap if you want, but I think the bottom for HEX, there's a good chance it's in. We haven't heard Richard come out and say it's the bottom for Bitcoin yet. He's also not a prophet, but it could easily, things could go lower for Bitcoin just based on the way that everything is leveraged. But yeah, there's been some chaos in the markets lately too, with the SEC banning stable coins, going after centralized services. Got to be specific about that, but the market doesn't seem to care. It's pretty great. And as an unintended side effect for them, this might end up pushing more people into real DeFi. There's so much going on. There's Bitcoin has NFTs. I guess that's news or whatever. Does that mean Bitcoin just sucks more now? Probably, right? It's just slower and shittier than it already was, being clogged up with monkey pictures. So, but yeah, that's what's going on. It's not going to just be infinite pump parabola up from here. Just like I said, that we can't ignore the Fed. That's going to be very bearish in the second half of the year, whether it's June, July, August. The next Fed meeting is not till March 21st, and people are predicting they're going to do a 25% basis point increase then. It almost entirely just relies on the Fed and the CPI at this point, and just those numbers along with the unemployment numbers. There's little dials that the Federal Reserve can turn to try to get inflation under control, quote unquote. And you're always going to have the doom and gloom people saying that, we're screwed. And if you scroll back in some of these people's history, right, people make money off of just always posting that everything is on the verge of apocalypse forever, right? And a broken clock is right twice a day. So, they play into the fear narrative, and it's strong and sticky for a lot of people because, we have a reaction to it as human beings. But if you look at how far crypto's come, I don't think there's no slowing it down in terms of the innovation side, right? It's literally unstoppable from a code perspective. My greatest fear at the end of the day is, will America basically regulate itself to death and force entrepreneurs like you and myself to have to move outside? I'm not even sure if you're from the States. You don't sound like it, but UK maybe, if I had to guess.
UK, yeah. UK.
Yeah, so it's a clown show over here, but no worse than the clown show over there or the clown show going on anywhere else in the world. So
yeah,
we've already opted out. We were already in the parallel financial system. I don't know. Basically, you just got to go where you're treated best from here. Yeah, but talking about price, it's fun. We might pump up to 10 cents if the V3 testnet announcement aligns with, this current bullish sentiment that we're already in. I mean, we could probably go even higher than 10, maybe even 15, but I wouldn't bet on that, right? I would just say enjoy the ride till mid-March and watch the Fed, watch what they do. If the Fed does 25 basis points and CPI comes out even lower, maybe that's a good thing, right? But the CPI numbers were weird. I did not account for, it was a really tricky one with the CPI this year, right? Because inflation was lower for the 7th consecutive month, year over year, right? But it was also up 5% from last, 0.5% rather, from last month. So that's a good thing and a bad thing, but it was also higher than expectations on both fronts. Now, apparently the market doesn't give a shit, as we've already seen. And what these expectations are also subjective anyway, right? But market expected 6.2, we had 6.4, but hey, last month the year over year was 6.5. So technically we still went down. We're not coming down as much as probably the Fed would like to see, but things also take time to trickle down. You know, the federal funds rate, the scarcity of money takes time to infiltrate into the market. But that said, the CPI data, what I didn't account for is, yeah, we're only averaging over one previous year of inflation data, but on top of that, they give a lot more weight to the housing sector and specifically owner equivalent rent. That's a statistic that accounted for a much larger portion of the CPI data than in previous months, and they gave lower weights to things like used car sales, for example. So this is going to, it's interesting to speculate what is this going to do to the markets, right? Like giving housing more weight in your inflation data is going to highlight the fact that housing is still really, really high and that people can't afford it. So, people are renting the American dream of buying a house, even with a 4-year university degree and a dual income, no kid household, still very, very very hard to afford to put a down payment on a house and then pay a mortgage or, God forbid, take out a 30-year adjustable rate mortgage, right? But yeah, it's all chaos right now. I don't know where I'm going with this. We'll just have to play it by ear, see what happens. Just know that if you're opting out into real DeFi, you're going to be safe from a lot of this regulation and all the chaos that's going on around us.
I mean, things are changing like exponentially, as you said, and we can see that with, less people. Well, I mean, it's nearly impossible to buy a house a lot of the time, especially for people coming out of university. And the UK and the US are very similar like that. A lot of people are opting to not have a family, right? Because they can't really afford it. And they're like, I'm not going to have a family and I can't buy a house. It doesn't look bright at all. But the shining light on the hill seems to be DeFi. It seems to be crypto, where, again, you have to be careful. There's lots of scams and what's not. But if you pick a good protocol like HEX, like PulseChain, PulseX, all this stuff, then there is an actual possibility to earn yield. But obviously we need to tip the balance so more people find out about it. And I think that in the next bull run, we're going to see that. You said something about 2025. Do you think that's when we're going to really see the peak of the next bull run?
Yeah, I find it hard to imagine, coming off of a decade or more of 0% interest rates. Basically, money was free to borrow. And we had steady GDP growth, but nothing crazy, nothing phenomenal. And that was under 0% conditions. Now we're going to have 4 or 5% conditions for a while, right? When the Fed, quote unquote, pivots, it doesn't mean they just start going back down. It means they stop raising, so we could have that prolonged period of higher interest rates, which would force companies to be more productive, essentially, or get washed out. We'll find out who's really caught with their pants down, at the end of the day, because like we've seen from a lot of these FANG companies already, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Twitter, especially, Twitter fired 90% of its workforce, and Twitter objectively is working better than it ever has. It has more daily active users than it ever has. Depending on who you talk to. I mean, some people always flip out, claim they're shadow banned, when they got 25 followers. Oh, I'm shadow banned. Maybe just make better tweets, bro. But at the end of the day, like a lot of these jobs are bullshit jobs. And it's finally coming for kind of white collar America, and they're going to be feeling it too. So it's starting to scare a lot of people. I think, if you have to have a day job at this point in time, and you're stacking paychecks, dollar cost averaging into crypto, try to make sure that you are not fireable, that you're not expendable, so to speak. I know a lot of these jobs are, but hey, there doesn't seem to be any shortage of them either. So we haven't really felt the pain of layoffs or any of that stuff yet, and that could happen. It's something that's totally unpredictable, right? It could be really bad. It could be not so bad. Housing still has to come down, but I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. I'm just kind of repeating what I see online, right? I don't have all the answers, but I don't think anybody does either. So what frustrates me a lot is when I see people online claiming that they know things absolutely for certain, right? You should always be skeptical of people like that. Those are the kind of people that delete their tweets 2 weeks later when they were wrong, right? And they're going to feed you the meat grinder. So be okay with uncertainty and learn how to thrive in a very uncertain environment right now.
Unfortunately, people do follow the most confident a lot of the time, right? Because they don't want to do the work themselves. They don't want to go out there and make the decisions. So someone on Twitter or someone on CNBC saying, this is what's going to happen exactly. And like you said before, you see a lot of these people profiting off this fear mongering, right?
Yeah. Look, I will confidently tell you that I don't know. And I think that's why you should probably not follow the people claiming that they have a crystal ball, so to speak. Like, I'll tell you what I don't know. I'll tell you what I do know. But at the end of the day, the outcome, it's not good right now. But it's just a matter of how much worse is it going to get before it gets better. We've a lot of people are predicting 2024 to be kind of a range-bound year, with taking into effect the effects of inflation. And I think a lot of people are finally just waiting on housing to crash. I know I am. Like, as a millennial, every millennial and that I've talked to is just hoping and praying that housing prices come down because they're inflated astronomically. And that'd be a great opportunity for all of us to diversify, so to speak. But,
hodl until then, basically. Hodl until we see some more pain in different markets, and then scoop up some discounts. But you're someone who, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you handle the bear market pretty well because you pop up, you make content, and I see you post here and there on Twitter, but sometimes you're just like, right, I'm off. I'm going to do my stuff. And I think too many people are this. Listen, we love crypto. We're talking about crypto now, but it's not everything, right? There's more to life than crypto. How have you handled the bear market, and how do you unplug and, make your content, reply on Twitter, talk, get involved in discussions, but then get away?
Well, I go through phases, right? I was on Twitter all day today, literally, like all day. And it was, but it was good. It was positive. And I was on Twitter more so because the price was pumping and everybody was all nice and kumbaya today because we all kind of feel what's coming, right? But in that situation, it's fun to be a part of the hive mind and to show gratitude for the situation that we're all collectively in and where we think we're going. But this isn't my first bear market either, right? I've been around since 2015. I started crypto in a bear market, had no idea what people were really talking about with their pessimism. Got a real taste of what pessimism was like in 2017, 2018. And, the second and a half time around, it just gets easier and easier because when you realize the fundamentals, you can't, it's like something with no off switch. Public blockchains have no off switch. They can't be stopped. Governments can try as much as they want, but we're innovating far faster and beyond what anybody could ever regulate. So you realize that crypto really is the biggest innovation since the dawn of the internet. There's no going back. And I think once you realize the fundamental truths about crypto, you can sleep a lot better at night, knowing that delayed gratification is the only thing that works. It's the only way people get rich. I mean, Richard Hart says founders as well, but even 90% of founders probably don't get rich unless they literally rug pull or steal from people and do something kind of nefarious. There's a lot of coins that we call it silent evidence, right? And Nassim Taleb, a bunch of dead bodies that nobody talks about because we only like to highlight the winners. So people say, oh, meme coins pump so hard. Well, you're ignoring the hundreds and thousands of meme coins that failed miserably. Remember, what was that one TV show that got really popular where they were killing everybody? Squid Game. Remember Squid Game?
Squid Game.
Yeah. Biggest scam of one of the bigger scams of I would
live on air.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not just an automatic rule, that meme coins pump, but basically you see so much come and go in crypto, and you're able to say, well, I've seen this before. I've seen this narrative. I've seen this scheme. A lot of it is just reloading scams, right? They'll come up with a different project with the same exact parameters and tweak the name, tweak the logo. Sometimes it's even the same group of people behind it, and they hop around from coin to coin. Now there's a whole new breed of NFT scammers and stuff. But, when you're trying to survive the bear market, you're better off just not paying attention. to Twitter a lot of the time, or to anybody selling you shiny object syndrome, because people start to grift in bear markets, right? They get bored, and then they feel the scarcity mindset, and they feel like they have to grift and take away from other people by inventing this shiny object that they don't even believe in themselves, right? We've seen this over and over and over. A new one gets pitched to us every 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even more often than that. I don't pay enough attention to all the crap that's shoved down people's throats, but you're always going to have people hiding in the shady alleyways of the internet saying, "Hey man, I got some altcoins for you. You want to come check it out? Like, I got them real cheap, man." And people need their fix. So it really is kind of just a dopamine addiction. And the faster you can get off of that, I recommend just muting everybody that doesn't serve your interests, right? Or that is a nobody with no followers, no profile picture, not working on anything, not building anything cool. Just mute people, right? You don't need to argue with random strangers on the internet unless there's something to gain, which 99% of the time there's not. So yeah, I think people just need to become a bit more mature in their online behavior, right? Behavior patterns. Look at your Twitter, hours per day. Your iPhone will show you. Just scroll left. Your iPhone will show you how many hours a day are you wasting your life. How big of a piece of shit are you? And then maybe get some hobbies like working out, getting to bed early. Maybe even just if you'd be better off just playing video games through the entire bear market and just buying and holding, rather than trying to keep up with all the news and everyone's opinions and the new shitcoin of the day. You would literally be better off just just getting drunk every night at the local dive bar. Like, that sounds terrible, right? But it's like, the more you pay attention to just all this crap that's kind of forced down your throat, the more you think you have to act and do something, when really all you got to do is dollar cost average and sit on your ass and, thank me in 3 years. Thank yourself in 3 years, right? I'm not the guru. I'm not the teacher. We all have the ability to do this, but it's easier said than done for people, especially in their first cycle. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm empathetic towards that, but you got to be self-aware, right, of what games you're getting pulled into.
Yeah, I think what you said is so true. Like, you need to treat Twitter like you would in real life. Like, if I was bumping into negative people in the street, or friends of friends who are negative, I just wouldn't hang around them. I'd just be like, okay, I'm off, right? But if they're cool and they're positive and they bring something to the table and they bring value, cool, let's hang out, let's chat, let's go hiking, let's play sports, whatever, let's go for a drink. And I think so many people get so emotional, and it's like, if someone has a different opinion, that's fine, right? They don't have to believe the same thing as you. And I see a problem, not with all hexagons, but some hexagons, is that when people, they don't agree with hex, or maybe they don't get it. Instead of saying, hey, let's talk about it, watch Coffee's video, or watch one of RH's streams where he explains it, they just start, you're an idiot, you don't understand this. And that never helps anything. That never turns anyone on. That's
all right. I mean, you're not going to onboard everybody, but there's 8 billion people in the world, and 0.00001% are in hex, right? So there's a lot more people that haven't heard about it than that have. Yeah. And you're not going to get everyone on board. A lot of people still think crypto is a scam. A lot of people still think Bitcoin is a scam. I know a lot of people around my parents' generation that wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, but, they're working 9 to 5 their whole life. They're in the rat race, and that's okay. Not everyone's going to see that. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? So, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's like the psychology of a troll. You got to understand where they're coming from. It's basically misery loves company. If you bring yourself down to their level of consciousness, that's exactly what they want. They want to pull you into their pit of despair and doom. So you just don't participate. Ghost trolls, because the one thing they feed off of is literally your attention, your consciousness. Don't give it to them, and then we could all work on being better people. Even the trolls might have a chance.
Yeah, you gotta ghost people that don't serve you, and obviously bring people more into your life. And the good thing about the internet is, before the internet, the only mentors you could have, I guess, were probably elders, your parents, uncles and aunties, and school teachers. But now anyone could be your mentor, right? I've got people who I listen to on YouTube and on Spotify and what's not, and I've never met them, but I feel they're my mentor because I've learned so much from them. So it's really as simple as that. And like you said, with the bear market, it has been brutal. It always is. And then to argue, your bags are down however much, and then you're arguing with people, and it's just this, pushing cortisol around your body, which is obviously completely negative.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be a lifelong learner. You have to keep an open mind. Yeah, you have to admit to yourself that you don't know everything, and I do that too. There's no way that I would ever call myself a guru. I wouldn't want that title at all, or even a mentor. Like, but I do think I have things that people can learn from, and I can learn from other people. But you just have to get out there and say what you feel to be true. And if it's proven that your thoughts are not true, keep an open mind enough to update your, like Richard says, update your worldview, but that's literally true. I mean, you have to keep doing that every so often. It's actually the definition of critical thinking is analyze. It's routinely going back and analyzing your own thought patterns. That's what critical thinking is, to a degree. So I try to teach people to do that. You know, if you teach a man to fish, they'll fish for a lifetime.
100%. You've got to be a lifelong learner. One of my favorite books is a book on Zen Buddhism, and it's called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And it says you always want to have the beginner's mind because the beginner doesn't know anything and wants to learn. The expert thinks it knows everything, right? And then obviously closes itself off. So yeah, always have a beginner's mind and always keep learning. How do you learn best? Videos, books, reading?
Audiobooks for sure. I recently learned that, or had a realization that reading sucks. And that audiobooks are a way better way. For me personally, hey, maybe you like reading, but if you find an audiobook for it, you could be going to the grocery store and learning at the same time. You know, you could just have that on in the background, like pay for YouTube Premium, close your phone and just listen to stuff when you're at the gym or when you're on a long drive. Otherwise, it's just wasted time, right? Yeah, I don't really watch a whole lot of content anymore, though. I will here and there just to try to stay up to date, but you know, the more content you're creating, the less you really have time to consume. So it's also information overload. You know, you get all this information and it gives you this false sense of security that you have more control over the outcome of what's happening next. It doesn't do that at all. It doesn't really help you at all, especially the more angles you're taking the information from. You're either going to make an irrational decision based off of a whim or an emotion, or you'll be paralyzed by analysis. So I think we all need to just consume and learn less to a degree. Sounds weird to say, but you know, find some people that you look up to, but try to learn yourself just by on your own journey. Experiential knowledge is going to be worth way more than any textbook or even any YouTube guy can teach you.
Yeah, going deep on a good book is going to be much better than reading 10 books, you know, 10 mediocre books and trying to do like, you know, one chapter of each a day. And I think the world we live in with the internet, right? You've got everything. You've got YouTube, you've got TikTok, you've got Instagram, you've got Twitter, whatever. There's a million different platforms. And, you know, the way that we're being served content, I don't even go on TikTok at all. It's just too much. It's just like, no way. You're going very shallow and you're just getting like, you know, just like invest in this, buy Doge, do, and it's just too much. It's too much. Like you said, you need to learn less, but go deep, right? Dig a trench really deep on one thing. Rather
it's both, right? You have to be a generalist and a specialist.
Yes.
Jack of all trades, master of none. But then you also want to niche down when it's important, right? So in this crypto thing, like if your goal is to get financially free, to get rich, well, that can happen in crypto. So you might want to deep dive in crypto, but all the other generalist information that you've accumulated over the course of your life can also help you in unexpected ways, right? Like just even knowing psychology or knowing macroeconomics or knowing sales, you know, that's going to help you craft a narrative and all that stuff like that. So you have to be both. It's kind of ambiguous. There's no, that's the paradox of life. You know, everything is both.
Nothing's black and white. And I think a lot of people, including myself when I was younger, because life can be so complex and so chaotic, we want black and white, right? We want someone to tell us, you know, this is the way, this is the right way, this is the wrong way. And unfortunately, everyone's life is different. Someone who's a millionaire now, who's 60 years old, maybe and probably their information to how they became a millionaire is irrelevant to you, right? It's a different time. They live in probably a different part of the world or a different part of the country. So like you said, yes, you should learn, you know, you should learn multiple things like marketing, sales, psychology, crypto, investing, but then know when, okay, I've got enough of this and I need to really double down on crypto or whatever's your passion. So it is, everything's nuanced in life, and unfortunately no one wants to hear it. And that's how marketers make their money a lot of the time with, like, if you see, you know, a diet product, it's like, take this shake in the morning and the evening and lose 20 pounds in 1 week and stuff like that, because they want to make it simple and dumbed down. And this is the one thing that works. But in life, it's multiple shades of gray.
Yeah. Would you say it's even 50 shades of gray, sir? No, it's, you have to, like, you're not going to get rich buying Coca-Cola stock. You're not going to be Warren Buffett Like that's just not a thing anymore. You have to adapt to the new age. The internet, like basically it dawned this new era, a new type of person. And I think you have to be able to filter through a lot more information than, maybe our parents or grandparents ever had to. So, Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett, they talk shit about Bitcoin and crypto all the time, but guess what? They're about to die. So this is the new era, guys. We're living in a crypto world with the internet. We have magical internet money. It's better than the government's magical made up internet money because we have math, trust more than men. And just, again, it goes back to just try to choose what you feel and know to be true through your experience too. Have you ever used dollars? Have you ever gotten rich off of, investing in traditional vehicles? Like, if you're lucky to get 4% a year, triple your money in a decade, maybe. Whereas you can triple your money in a weekend in crypto. We're still so early and the opportunity is right in front of us that, in my experience, this is the best way to get to financial freedom so that ultimately you can do whatever else you want to do. You can help other people. If you want to start a longevity fund, you can do that. You can literally do whatever. I mean, you could do a rehab clinic or pay people to discover new scientific advances and just mold the world the world that you want to live in. Right? Elon Musk is kind of an example of that. You might not agree with what he chooses to put his money into, but he's making the world better in his own frame of reference. Right? He bought Twitter as a way to basically, he foresaw a threat to freedom of speech, so he bought Twitter to try to expose some of that corruption and maybe help the cause a little bit. He wants to be a spacefaring civilization. I'm not even that interested in going to Mars, but he thinks it's important. So he's working hard and getting rich in order to fund SpaceX and things like that. I think his cars are awesome. So love him or hate him, like that's just an example of what you need to do as a man or as a woman or whatever, if you want to have an impact on the world in the way that you think the world should be run. There's so many armchair quarterbacks out here that just point their finger and say, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. Meanwhile, they haven't done shit with their lives, like they work their 9-to-5 job and basically like they're just a bitch at the rat race. Like their boss is telling them what to do. They're upset. They want to come home and vent on Twitter, complaining about Twitter on Twitter. That's the funniest part, right? But I'm just ranting about shit. Do you want to talk about liquid loans?
Yeah, man. Yeah, let's go into it. Well, I mean, we're waiting for V3 to come out. Actually, what do you think about V3? How close are we? Because we keep getting all these updates from Richard, and then 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah,
how do you think we're off?
I'm just waiting for that bug to be fixed, like all you guys. But it won't be long after we get a little tweet that says bug has been fixed. I'd say a couple more days, and then testnet V3 is out. I'm not a developer, but I don't imagine it would be too much of a change on you guys because it's still Solidity code. It's still relatively an EVM compatible blockchain. Yeah, the consensus is different, but the state and the code itself that you're running, I don't. Obviously, there's going to need to be a lot more testing, right, on V3, not only for your protocol but for everyone that's building. But I don't foresee a lot of issues happening just due to the fact that it's kind of the same code either way.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the same code. So, but there will be a significant amount of testing that needs to be done because I've heard some people on Twitter, and I think they're just deluding themselves because they've been waiting so long. But I've heard a few people say, I think we're going to go straight to mainnet. And obviously anything's possible, but I think that's not going to happen, man. There's no way Richard is going to go straight to mainnet, like after all this testing.
Yeah. Plus there's all these protocols, like you need to run some tests. You might have to update your integer values to accommodate all the extra zeros or something. Little tweaks like that. But I imagine most people that if you were running fine on testnet V2B, you're probably going to be okay for V3. We're not going straight to mainnet. Of course, I don't know that for a fact, but I wouldn't get delusionally optimistic. I am an optimist, but I'm not delusional.
Yeah, I think people just want some more hopium because it's been such a brutal bear market, and
things are great right now. I mean, I don't know how much. Like, we've got a nice little pocket of seemingly bullish sentiment across the board, even in the boomer stocks for a while. Just enjoy it. If you want to take some profit before the Fed crushes us again, maybe do that. Totally up to you guys, but I mean, just enjoy the pump right now. I think it's only a small taste of what's to come.
Yeah, well, whatever's happening is better than obviously the red days and the red months that we've all been accustomed to. Yeah. And there's bullish news, man. Like whatever happens, they found a bug and they're fixing it, but V3 is closer than ever. And obviously with V3 coming out, it means mainnet's even closer. So yeah, a lot of bullish sentiment. You can see that on Twitter. You can see people, like you said, being more kumbaya, everyone getting along, compared to the implosion. What do you think about the HEX community? Because you've been in it since the very beginning, in 2019, and here we are, beginning of 2023. What's the big difference?
Community is awesome. It's so good. It's so much better than it was when we were first starting out too. I mean, we've seen so many people come and go. The bear market really does filter out, who's really serious about this and who's just grifting, scamming, or not cut out for it in the first place. Bear market's a great way to show people's true colors, but God, I mean, from 3 years ago till now, it's only getting better every single day. And it's verifiable on chain. You could look up Twitter analytics or Lunar Crush. I mean, HEX and PulseChain dominates everybody's engagement all across Twitter. I mean, look at even Ivan Tech, for example, posts, HEX or ADA, which community is better? And just overwhelmingly, HEX comments in the chat, probably more engagement than he's gotten on any other tweet in the last month. We're the only thing cool happening, and we're all still here. We're all still yelling about it. So, kudos to everyone that's being so patient and still, pumping their bags, getting the word out there, helping other people get onboarded, because this is really for this next cycle, these couple months are pretty critical to onboard people if they don't want to miss out on some potentially life-changing gains. Obviously tops are made by people that just FOMO in, but this is really the time to be onboarding right now, so that you get to experience that 50x, 100x, even 1000x potentially. Whereas if you're buying at the top, you might be lucky to get a 2x, and then your euphoria is going to make you hold it all the way back down 90% again. We saw that happen to a lot of people that got washed out. But that's what bear markets do. They just wash out market participants that didn't delay gratification. If you weren't staked in HEX, there's a good chance you're not still here, right? It's a game of attrition. But I just see more and more quality people coming up to the table, speaking their mind, starting channels, whether it's YouTube Shorts, TikTok, YouTube channels, even if it's just Twitter. Hundreds, maybe even thousands of people that are actively vocal about what they believe in, about censorship resistant, peer-to-peer money, time locking, trustless yield. These are real innovations happening right now. It's amazing to see so many people excited about such a technical innovation, but it's because we all realize the power that it has to make people financially free. Yeah, more and more people ever before. We've come leaps and bounds, and yeah, you're going to get some detractors along the way, but the snowball's already rolling, right? It's not really gonna get any smaller.
You can't knock the HEX and the Pulse community, the engagement, the passion. I mean, I'm not in other communities that much, but who's having meetups around the world and doing all this stuff, and it really is it's something to behold. What do you think about, obviously if V3 does come out, let's say we see V3 in the next month, how far, it's all speculation, how far would you think we'd see mainnet? And do you think Richard doesn't care about launching in a bear market?
I think people are going to tell themselves different things about timing the market, but it's ready when it's ready. It's as simple as that. It's the most boring answer, right? But it really is ready when it's ready. I think any one of these previous 6 months or even the next 6 months are a totally fine time to launch PulseChain, because I don't think we're going to be seeing all-time highs anytime soon this year, at least. Yeah, we might pump pretty hard, but all-time highs, not so likely. So, I think we've got plenty of runway in which to launch PulseChain, so that we still launch in a bear market, technically. So, there's no market timing to my knowledge, and a lot of people like to think that there is, but no, it's just learning new stuff, making new improvements. Switching over from Binance Smart Chain clones to Ethereum 2.0 clone, that was a big setback, but also big improvement at the same time. So that probably had another 6 to 8 months worth of development work, right? Ever since that decision was made, maybe 4 months ago. So yeah, we're at where we're at. There's nothing we could do. It's outside of our control. Again, the only thing we can really do is outreach and adoption and prepping to make a better user experience. Stuff that you guys are doing for a better user experience on Liquid or on PulseChain. We need all types of protocols that, replicate the traditional financial system. Lending is a really good one. Stablecoins are another really good one. So kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone there.
The FTX fallout, I think the SEC is just flexing its muscles, right, with the BUSD thing with Paxos. And then what's the latest one? Is that the one?
Well, there's rumors that USDC got a Wells notice, meaning that
Yeah.
SEC intends to sue them unless they have a chance to respond with a compelling reason why they shouldn't be sued. And USDC is backed by Circle, which is backed by BlackRock, who's been having meetings with the SEC, and they're probably the closest tied to the SEC. So I can't imagine that these rumors of them getting sued are going to go anywhere. I kind of feel like there's enough.
They're all in bed together.
Yeah. There's been enough, stuff going on behind the curtain where I feel like they're going to be like, if not the CBDC, they're going to be one of the only U.S. approved CBDCs, central, or I should say, stable coins. I don't know. It seems weird, but it could just be for show too. It could just be, regulation theater, I guess. Hey, look, we're doing something. We're on top of things, guys. We've got this under control. Never mind BlockFi, Luna, Celsius, Voyager, FTX. Forget about that. But we got it covered now.
I think it's theatrics. I think it's just trying to show that we are here for the people, and then they'll give them a slap on the wrist, right? Fine them a couple of $1 million or $10 million, which is nothing. And then we'll all carry on and pretend, oh, they got fined and everything.
Yeah, for sure. It really comes down to education. We got to educate people that with great power comes great responsibility. And I think that's the route that we're taking, which I really do believe is the superior route of, if the alternative is more regulation and more enforcement, no, I'm in favor of educating the people on how to use this stuff and how not to use it. And that's going to go way farther than having some 3-letter agency be your crypto daddy and tell you exactly what to do. I heard this ridiculous, and not to get political, but I do believe that the left is going to start an attack on crypto in the coming election. Doesn't seem to be a bipartisan issue, unfortunately, where both parties agree, at least in the US. But I heard some garbage about how crypto was, it was positioned as being financially uninclusive, not financially inclusive, right? Which is, the polar opposite in real life. El Salvador, Africa, Argentina, countries that are hyperinflating, whose currencies are hyperinflating due to the fact that they're heavily in debt to the US, whose currency is also inflating. Well, all the countries that we have economically enslaved are basically at inflated levels of risk, no pun intended, but because they're all at such high risk of their currency. I mean, Argentina's dollar, peso, whatever it is, it went up. It lost 99% of its value in the last year alone. Okay? That's really bad. That's where crypto comes in, and there's people in El Salvador literally using, Bitcoin Lightning Network. Love or hate Bitcoin, but they're using the Lightning Network every day to pay for their, daily transactions. And so that's the most financially inclusive you can possibly get. Like, it levels the playing field for everybody to get in, even the poorest of the poor. And so they're going to start to say, oh, well, crypto, look at all the people that lost money in crypto. They were all poor and minorities. And, you should feel bad about that. Like, really, the people that are the most poor, that need crypto the most, are actually getting it. They're getting this privilege to use it. And they're getting the opportunity to, have a quality of opportunity, basically. Not a quality of outcome, but they're getting the opportunity to have opportunity, which is a beautiful thing. And I think that maybe we should prepare for that kind of narrative coming our way, because they're going to try to fight it regardless, right? We've already seen the SEC, that's really just a regulatory agency. It's not too political. They just want to keep themselves alive, right? They just want to save face. They want to look good. But when it comes into politics in this next coming election, it's going to be kind of interesting. I think it's just foolish to stifle innovation on, for any reason at all. So, it'd be like censoring the internet because they were afraid that the news would go to waste. It's like, yeah, the news has gone to waste, and it should, because it's garbage, right? Now we've got Vice and freeform, what's it called? Independent journalism on the rise. And that's an amazing advancement, right?
Yeah.
So that's just what I've been thinking about all day, I guess.
It's interesting, but you say that, sorry, just to interrupt, but you're talking about the left's, pushing this narrative. And I read this in a psychology book a while back. And a lot of the time when people go hard on one narrative, it's actually the opposite, right? So the person, for example, the person who's been caught cheating is the one who's blaming or is cheating, is blaming their partner for being the cheater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because or the bully is really a really insecure little kid inside, because they're trying to go above and beyond to hide the opposite. So the left or whoever who is like, crypto is not inclusive, it's discriminatory and all this stuff, a lot of the time, because they're trying to hide their own things that they're doing, right? That's uninclusive. Or
people love to project they love to point fingers, but we're in the then they fight you stage, and it's all about control. At the end of the day, nobody wants to give up control, and people are going to have an aneurysm, but you can simply opt out. If you choose assets like PulseChain and HEX, things that are actually decentralized, you don't have to care about any of that anymore.
Absolutely. Well, listen, let's end this on a positive note. PulseChain's closer than ever. Has your strategy changed? We want to hear some veteran advice from someone who's been in HEX since the beginning. What are you going to do when PulseChain Mainnet goes live?
I love this question because everybody gets so worked up about it. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? It's like as if you have to do something at all. You don't have to do anything. That's pretty cool, right? Like you can just sit back and wait. If you don't have your PLS bag, if you don't have your PulseX bag yet, you can wait to dollar cost average in during the inevitable dip that almost every cryptocurrency experiences when it first launches, right? They all experience a dip. So then 1 or 2 months, if you wanted to scale into Pulse and PulseX, I think there's going to be an opportunity. If you want to be super, super duper risky in the 48 hours before the bridge, I'd recommend using a limit order and then doing a little bit of math, division, multiplication, stuff you can do on a calculator, and try to figure out at the time, how much HEX or whatever other coin do you want to swap for how much PLS or PulseX, and just make sure you're getting a good deal. And if the math is too hard, then don't do it, because you're probably going to make a huge mistake that you're going to regret. But if you want to talk more about that, join my Patreon. But no, really, there's not much to do. Everyone's, looking, what do I do? What do I do? And it's really just pack your bags and wait a couple of years and enjoy the ride. And then focus on adoption, onboarding, and pumping your bags.
Exactly. Sensible advice said by a wise man. Listen, man, this has been great. For anyone who's watching who doesn't know who you are, I'm sure a lot of people do. Most people do. Where can they find you? Where can they find out more about you online?
Crypto Coffee 369 on everything. Twitter and YouTube primarily. If you're brand new to crypto, I've got a course, hexpassiveincome.com. Very cheap, a lot of bang for your buck. Takes you from zero to hero. If you know nothing about crypto, you'll know almost everything. Everything you need to know regarding HEX and the staking ladder strategy. And if you've been in crypto for a while and you just want to shoot the shit or hang out or talk strategies, right? Like buy and hold, for example, you could join my Patreon and we could just talk, hang out. I mean, I answer all kinds of questions right there. I don't have enough time in the day to answer questions from all my DMs. So it's just a way to filter out, people that are actually serious about collaborating or bouncing ideas off of each other. Consider my Patreon. It's also Crypto Coffee 369 on Patreon. So thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for having me on.
Cheers, Coffee. So I hope you enjoyed that chat with Crypto Coffee. If you enjoyed this video, you're also going to love this video right here. Click that link and I will see you on the next one.